Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Mills, and this is a meeting of the Town of Amherst Cultural Council. I want to thank everyone in this season of Thanksgiving for all of your hard work and all of the great work that you do to support performing arts and visual arts and cultural events in the Greater Valley area. And due to suspension of certain open meeting laws by the governor's office, this group is able to meet via Zoom. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted by the end of this week, probably to the Town of Amherst YouTube channel. At this time, I would like to recognize the chair, Julian Applegate, and turn it over to you. Have a great meeting, everyone.
Thanks so much, Angela. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I will start off with our roll call. Bill.
Present.
Thank you. Eleanor.
Present.
Cody.
Here.
Excellent. And Christy.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, back in the States, back in the time zone?
Out on the tip of the Cape.
All right.
So I'm back in the time zone, but
back in the time zone. All right.
On a little vacation.
Okay. So I think we should really just get right on with things, considering we're behind. My family had a health scare last week. Everybody's doing better. Finally, everyone's back at home as of yesterday afternoon. So things are great, but it's been a really crazy week. So I do have one quick piece of good news. We have an additional council member who I think maybe didn't get invited to this session just yet, but Cody knows him well. It's Do Kim. And I look forward to introducing all of you to him when he can join us for a meeting soon. So that brings us up to our full allotment of 9 council members. So how have all of you been? Anybody have any questions or anything that we might want to touch base on before we jump into everything?
Before I forget, let's batch. Not this batch. I forget what number I cannot look at because I'm on the committee. So just a heads up, it's the Ocean Power.
Okay, exactly. Yeah. So that one is, where is that? It's coming up eventually. And, if we were to get to that, I'm not quite sure where it is, but if we were to get to that, and we don't have a quorum without you, then we'll just hold it and come back to it at the next time where we quorum without
I do know it's, I believe, in the next 20. So yeah.
Well, let's hope we can get to all of those, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I have for the last one, and I will need someone to keep time since Rachel is not with us. Any volunteers?
I can keep time.
All right. Okay. Great, Bill. So that'll be 5 minutes for each, and I'll tell you go in just a second. We will be starting with it's number 25, Robert Camo. Does everyone see where that one is if you want to follow along before we start discussing it? Is everyone all set? Excellent. Okay. So Robert Camo is applying for the North Amherst Cemetery walking tour. It's the second historical walking tour that he's giving in the community. He did another one, I believe, in South Hadley last year, and he'll talk about the features of the cemetery, positions of the burials relative to gravestones, history of the cemetery, and some of the noteworthy gravestones. In future years, he will continue to have tours, but also not just in cemeteries, but in parks and on streets and around churches. For every tour that he gives, he makes multiple videos of the historical location, help explain the topics. Then he posts them to YouTube on his website, specific page about that historic location. And he takes pictures and writes text to add to that page. And he typically makes a podcast on the topic as well. There's no need to have an indoor venue since the events take place outdoors, but he still will contact the Amherst Cemetery Department in advance once the grant is approved. He is requesting $100 for his grant, and that is the total budget, and it's pretty much just a stipend to him for the work that he's doing. So it is not scheduled for a specific date yet, but it would be somewhere in 2025 during the summer on a Saturday morning. Is there anyone who has any questions? Yes, or
I wish we had more of these. I mean, I just, it's the kind of thing that I think we don't get enough of
Mhm.
we have such a, historic town and
Mhm.
structures. So I think it's great. It seems very reasonable.
Yeah.
So I would champion this for the full amount.
Is everyone in agreement to try to fund this for the full amount? I certainly am.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just noticed I haven't changed my name. I'll do that.
What's that?
I'm
Oh.
still on your name. I just realized when I talked, but I will change that.
Two of me would be too many, so sorry about that, folks, but we'll keep moving. Okay. Any other discussion? All right, great. The next is arts programming at Craig's Door. And this event would be from February through May of 2025 at their congregate shelter location at the Amherst Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and also their non-congregate site on Russell Street in Hadley. And they are requesting $2,130 out of about $4,400. And for this particular grant, they would be implementing a project between Craig's Doors and a collaborative art program that would be in cooperation with the ETTA Arts. They're an Amherst-based theater organization, and together they would seek to use the arts as a bridge between the larger Amherst creative community and a segment of the neighbors who often are unseen and those who are without housing. It's a 12-week program, and the Rainbow Players and student interns would visit their shelters once a week for 2-hour sessions to facilitate workshops and skill building instruction with a variety of mediums. So drawing, painting, paper mache, and then performance-based mediums such as improv. Everything takes place on site in Amherst and Hadley, and it culminates in a springtime exhibit in Amherst. Is there anyone who has any questions or would like to champion this event?
I'll champion this event for all of the reasons that you have laid out in terms of being able to support a population that is largely unseen, but also for the benefits of art and art instruction on, as noted in the application. And I think the fact that everybody deserves to enjoy the arts, and it's probably very difficult for this population to do that without this sort of program. So I'm fully in support. I don't know that we can afford to do the full amount of money as much as I would like to. So I'm that's up for discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I believe strongly in this program.
Yeah, I believe strongly as well. And yet I think it's in our best interest in this case, probably to hold off on this one because, or maybe what we should do is skip ahead because the empowerment through the arts, the ETTA grant also is requesting funds for this same event. So when we're looking at the total cost of what, or total amount that's being requested to do this event, it's actually over $4,000 from both of the groups. So the budgeting's a little bit complex here. And I think we need to understand both of them together. So is everyone okay if we go ahead and skip to ETTA? And you can just keep the clock rolling. We'll try to keep cumulatively to 10 for the two of them. So ETTA's grant, more along the same lines, same dates, same places. And in this case for $2,060. They're citing their participation in this same event. And really it's everything that we just talked about. So to kind of get into the details about it, we would be looking really specifically at the budgeting. Has anyone happened to take a look at the budgeting for this in the actual PDF? I did, but I don't have my fingers on the details since it wasn't just today. So I encourage everyone, can each of you go ahead and switch over to that and take a look at the budget page for each. I'm looking for mine. Sorry, I can't see you guys because I'm looking for things. Is everyone able to actually go and find?
What page is it on? What page is the ETTA on?
So I'm looking for the whole book right this second, Christy. I usually would have it
Sorry,
open.
I mean, it's just, I'm trying to do it on
There's-
like an
there's-
iPad and a computer and I'm,
There are bookmark tabs that you should be able to go to.
oh, really? Oh, God.
I can
Sorry,
also-
I've even lost the email where we were sent that. Does anyone know what date that
No.
was?
I don't have it either. I've been going to our website where they've got each one
Oh.
listed.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
I can
Wow.
also, I have it up, I can share my screen if that's helpful.
That would be super helpful. I'm kind of embarrassed here. I usually have that open and I'm flipping through and I've lost it on my computer today.
It's,
Oh, no, send a
it's on
request.
the God, I've never used the website, Bill. What, you can just go to the Cultural Council website?
Oh yeah, here, let me put the link in the chat. Give me just a second. That would be very helpful with it.
And I thought I had shared, I think some time back, I'd shared the actual book as well.
You did, and I lost it somehow. My apologies.
You
Let me
did,
see
you
if I-
did share the book. The book is, you did share the book.
Mm-hmm. FY 25.
I mean,
Let's see.
Sorry, I'm waiting for it to load.
Who can hear my teenager playing video games downstairs in this meeting? Anyone? Anyone?
nope.
All right.
no,
Okay. You guys tell me if you hear him. Otherwise, I'm tired of yelling at him to quiet down. All right. Sorry. I think we're about to be well past time on this, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got about a minute left, and I apologize. My
No need to apologize. It's on me. I guess we might have to extend so that we can at least touch on this one.
Yeah, I'm on the website now. So Bill, are you just looking at all of the kind of individual uploads from the
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's doable too.
of course now I can't even get there.
Technology. I wonder if I sent it from my personal email. I think I've thrown us for a tailspin. You know what? Let's
Sorry.
just table, nothing on you, Bill. Let's just table these two and make a note to ourselves to go back and actually read them, review them, and have an. I think everyone's going to have to take some time to go through them to make sense of it. Yeah, and usually when we have an event, it's all covered under one grant, not two different grants. Just when you do read through it, keep in mind of the complexity of kind of the final grant report and having two groups that are separately responsible. You know, if one group doesn't finish their part of it, then the other group can't. So, I mean, it would be my preference to have a single grant taking care of the budget for the whole thing. So all right, we will come back to these. And we will go then today to the one that was in between. So are you ready to restart the clock, Bill?
Yep.
Okay. All right, excellent. So this will be Eli Elkis, and it's music storytelling and folk songs by Eli Elkis at the Amherst Farmers Market. It occurs on 4 Saturdays during the 2025 market season. They're requesting $800 for that. And there are the performances for those 4 Saturdays. Each one runs for 3 hours. It's all original songs and stories, rekindlings of folk songs that have been passed down for generations, tales of travel, humanity, and treasures of the natural world. So just kind of jumping ahead, it can run from folk to blues, Americana, and really kind of tells tales of the whole fabric of our culture. And all the material is family friendly, and it's layered in ways that both, anyone from young folks to older folks can all enjoy some of the selections geared towards the listeners. So is there anyone who has any questions about it, or might like to champion this one? Sorry, I'm not looking if someone's holding their hand up. I would champion this one as far as, what you've got 3 hours over 4 Saturdays. The artists have more into it than just the 3-hour performance. There's prepping, getting their costumes, all of that. I think the farmers market is a vibrant part of our community. So, and it's well attended, and I think, really the art is reaching people, and it's original works. Does anyone have any thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I've been to the farmers markets, and I don't know if it's the same person or not, but whenever there's a performer there are people around it. There's usually a gaggle of kids around, listening and singing along. So I agree with you.
Great. Anyone else? My one concern, even though I think it's totally reasonable for the amount of what's being a performance offered, is, $800 is one of our larger amounts, but I do believe that the value is there. It's just, what else we might have to forego. And yet I think art and culture that reaches people where we are is incredibly powerful.
If we couldn't fund the whole thing, I would say high, like 80%, because I know in the end we have to cut.
Yep.
So
I would agree. Yep. Okay, any other thoughts, or shall we move to the next?
Yes.
Okay, next. Okay, the next one is Face Paint Inc. They are planning a donation of books and online resources to the public library. For the Jones Library, they're requesting $50 out of their total budget of $50. And they're the founders of Face Paint, and they're on a mission to raise social and cultural awareness through provisions of free books, film and video, audio, and articles. They're going to donate 6 of their published books in print, which have positive Kirkus reviews, to the Jones Library via mail for the library to use at their discretion. They also say that via email, they can provide a link to their YouTube channel that has 137 subscribers and offers additional educational videos and books in many different languages, etc. And they'll provide links to their nonprofit website, which allows downloadable PDFs of all of their published books and bilingual geography mini tutorials. Does anyone have any questions or would like to champion this?
I'd like to champion this since it seems like a great initiative for such a small act.
I had a question in my mind though, as far as I mean, it is a very small amount of money, and I'm guessing if we look, they probably have applied to maybe almost every town, but does the library want this? I mean, maybe the library wants absolutely everything that's quality, but if the library's not requesting it, then Bill, what are your thoughts, questions here?
First of all, time.
Thanks. Okay.
But there is, at the end of the application, a letter from the library director at the Jones Library.
Excellent.
I have not had a chance to read all the way through. Oh, wait, no, sorry. No, they were listing their contacts. So that's the question that I had, and there doesn't seem to be an answer. So sorry.
I mean, the amount is totally reasonable, but I'm confused about whether the library wants it or not.
Good point.
Okay. Is there, I'm okay either way. Is there anyone who feels strongly that we shouldn't fund it, or we just don't know?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so small too, but maybe you're right that it's best to, I guess I'd like to see a letter of support or just like some indication that there's been contact. But yeah, I don't know. I was curious what they meant even by like social and cultural awareness, but the website seems to be pretty like, you know, kindness, empathy, and altruism. So those are good things.
Okay, I guess we'll leave it TBD. Okay. So starting with the next one, we have John Pfeffer. His event is The Wedding Jester. It happened in February of 2025 at the Yiddish Book Center. They have a $3,000 budget. They're requesting $900 from Amherst Cultural Council. It's this performer's new one-person show, but it tells 2 stories. One of them is about making the film Fiddler on the Roof in a village in Croatia in 1970. And the second is about the life of the last, I can't say that word, so I'm not going to ruin it, who emceed at traditional weddings in Yiddish culture in Russia and Eastern Europe. These were, if anyone can say that word, please help me. They not only entertained the audiences with jokes and songs and funny stories, but they also both insulted guests and the bride and groom. So his role is to play this wedding MC. I'll have to look up how to say that. He's also, you know,
I think it's Bodkin.
Bodkin. All right, thank you. Yeah, okay. So it's a production that will also include original music composed by the performer. So is there anyone who has any questions who'd like to, or who would like to champion this event?
I would champion or at least advocate for a high partial of this. It's at the Yiddish Book Center, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would champion it and try to fully fund it. It's an
Yeah.
original work. It's at the
100%.
Yiddish Center. Original music, you know, I mean, it's going into the history of a, you know, well-loved musical and film adaptation of that. So I can't imagine, and it's here in Amherst. Like, what more do we want?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I agree.
Anyone else?
No, agree.
Excellent. Any other comments? Okay, moving to the next. We have Hampshire Choral Society, Inc., and this is Hampshire Choral Society's operating expenses grant. And I'd like to actually take this one, also 1 and 2, because the following grant after this is for the Hampshire Young People's Chorus and their choir tuition scholarships, where they're requesting $500. If anyone else has kind of looked at this in detail, the Young People's Chorus is part of what the Hampshire Choral Society does, as I understand it. Does anyone else have a different understanding of that? That they're
Wait, Julie, and are we, which one are we on?
so there are two right together. There's number 35 and 36. Hampshire Choral Society, Inc. and Hampshire Young People's Chorus.
What
So
happened to, did I lose? What happened to like 31, 32, 33, 34?
you are exactly right. I've been short on sleep, folks. Thanks.
Sorry,
Thanks for reining me back in, Christy. All right, let's go back to Carrie Ferguson, number 31. Carrie Ferguson and the Grumpy Time Club Band. She is planning to perform somewhere indoors in Amherst, still determining that. Usually she's looking at late January, early February. She's requesting $550 out of $700 for the budget. This is a live interactive music concert by Carrie Ferguson and the Grumpy Time Club Band for children and families. It's generally sponsored by the Jones Public Library and Amherst Recreation. They're still determining where it will be held as part of Winterfest. So this is a performer who applies each year and delights folks each year. So just a point before we get into the discussion, the fact that the date and the actual location isn't fully nailed down, I would have confidence, and I think we're going to see a bit of this with whatever's going on with the library. We're going to at times not have everything firmly committed. So is there anyone who'd like to champion or has questions?
I would champion it just because there are a real clear applicant. I would say you said they are requesting 500, right?
Yep.
So I would say 4 too high.
I completely agree. Everyone in agreement? I'm okay to put the 550 down and hope that we can do it.
Agree.
Great. Okay, so
Fine.
excellent. Moving to the next. We have Andrew Friedman, who has Valley Flow at the Farmers Market. It's 2 sessions, May 10th and then June 7th at the Farmers Market. He's requesting $300 out of his $300 budget. And it's 2 90-minute sessions introducing the flow arts to people at the Farmers Market. It's combines influence of dance, circus arts, and several mindful movement practices. It's a participatory event for people to move beyond just being observers in the audience. They can join in, create, try things out. And they've found in past years, because they're also a repeat applicant, that the farmers market is a perfect place to introduce this to people, to this new and exciting art form. It's very festive in the community atmosphere. So does anybody have any questions or would like to champion this event?
I have a question.
Mm.
The budget is for juggling equipment giveaways. Is that allowed? I honestly don't know.
As long as it's not food, I think it is just fine. I don't know what the giveaways are. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine if you're juggling, sometimes a ball gets away from you. We can't. I have no idea. What's the exact term, Bill?
It says juggling equipment giveaways.
I assume that they're, they've got juggling balls that they're giving away to people or something, something that come. I mean, I haven't been to these in the past. I do wonder though that it's Science A to Z or Science A to Z over in Northampton promotes it. I kind of feel like why aren't they donating the juggling equipment? But I mean, I would say this looks great, looks super fun. And if we can't do the whole thing, high partial would be great.
Yeah, I mean, for two separate event dates, it's only 150 then per event date.
Exactly.
I'd say hopefully we can fund all of it. All right. Any other comments, questions?
Julian, can you remind me how much money we have to give away?
Ooh. How specific a number you want? I'd have to pull the
Not
report.
specific.
Yeah.
Not
It's
specific.
in the neighborhood of 60,000.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay. Any other comments here? Move on. All right. So the next is Friends of the Mount Holyoke Range, the Summit House Sunset Concert Series that occurs all throughout July at Summit House at J.A. Skinner State Park. They're requesting $600 out of their $7,450 budget. And the Friends of the Mount Holyoke Range, it's a nonprofit organization. It promotes land conservation and nature awareness, and it assists such groups as Kestrel Land Trust, sponsoring nature walks and talks, as well as they do a 5K trail run. They do have this beloved summer concert series, and they work with the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation to support Mount Holyoke Summit House with very equipment needs for Skinner State Park. And they have presented 5 all volunteer run summer concerts on Thursday. They will be presenting 5 performances Thursday evenings by musicians based in Western New England that highlights the mountain range, historic Summit House, Skinner State Park, and support of its goals for local nature preservation. Is there anyone has any questions or would like to champion this?
I would champion this. It just is a very successful. I believe I've seen pictures of it. Don't quote me on that, but they're also a repeat applicant. So, yeah.
So they are a repeat applicant, and yes, and we've funded it many, many times. However, in the recent past, this particular applicant, we had a huge struggle with getting any documentation. for the event happening. And it is the same applicant, not just the group, but the same person. And
Um,
I do think it's a
no.
lot of value to the community, but it's been a lot of work on our part too. I mean, a lot of work to attempt to track down the paperwork.
My only question, and I know we don't have the answer, is they working with a state agency. Why are they not helping support this?
Well, that's an interesting question, but state agencies for state parks and state culture have always been, something that isn't necessarily, secured. And, this event is a fundraiser to help bring money in for conservation efforts. So it's a pretty amazing event in that, yes, there are ticket sales, but in the end, the funds go to land preservation and to trail hikes and everything else. So at the heart of it, I'd like to fully fund it. And states have all kinds of other things that they have to fund. And sometimes these budgets get cut really short. So the fact that there's culture and preservation is good, in my opinion.
Have they turned anything in for last or no?
I think so. It's a couple years back, and I think I did finally get everything.
Wow. I'd say at least a high portion.
Okay, I would agree.
Agreed. And we're at time.
All right, moving to the next, if there's nothing else. The next is Ghost Ensemble. It's their event is Deep Listening in the Community. It would happen at the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst on Saturday, April 12th. They're requesting $2,000 out of their $2,850 budget. It is a collaboration between Ghost Ensemble and the disabled artist community Rainbow Players. It's a day-long workshop in exploratory music making, open to all. It's inclusive and accessible for people with disabilities. They're bringing the transformative practice of deep listening and meditative music practice pioneered by composer Pauline Oliveros to systematically underrepresented, underserved communities who would otherwise lack access to innovative artistic. Sorry, was there a question? Okay, I just heard something. The workshop would be led by Director Ben Richter and held at the Unitarian Universal Society in Amherst, and where participants with disabilities can experiment and participate in the music, and there'd be accessible instruments provided as well. And also the community members from Rainbow Players will continue to work regularly with Ghost Ensemble, allowing for continued exploration. Does anyone have any thoughts, questions, would like to champion this event?
I would like to champion it just because as someone that's very into what goes on for people with disabilities. I know west of Worcester, it's a struggle to get these types of programs out here, so I think it's great that someone's finally bringing accessible close to the area. Yeah.
Any other thoughts or questions?
No, I agree. I mean, I feel like there aren't enough of these types of events that are accessible for all, and it feels like that's a pretty important part of what we do.
Okay. I am looking at, the a $2,000 to fully fund it. Can anyone see the number of folks served, which is not like a real great metric here because it's accessible, it kind of makes it a little bit different. By the way, if anyone was looking at the projected or target numbers when you've been doing your scoring, I realized that those were incorrect and I've removed all of them from the chart. The only way to see those is to go into the panel books. So I don't have a reference to that here.
So I have an old copy of the spreadsheet and it has 200.
That's a wrong number. If
Okay.
it's on a spreadsheet, it's wrong. It's meaning to mention that. So we'd have to look at it in the actual application. And then is anyone else reading this as I am, that I think the Rainbow Players participation in this, actually, it's the same group and goes back to the same collaboration work with Craig's Doors potentially, or am I misunderstanding that?
Where are you seeing that? Sorry.
Well, in the description, they talk about how this is also being included at the end. It says, read the exact words. After the project, community members from Rainbow Players will continue to work regularly with Ghost Ensemble, allowing for continued exploration. I don't know, maybe this is totally separate.
No, I don't know if it's related, but I know what you mean. I didn't notice that too.
Yeah.
We're at time.
Okay, thanks. I guess I'm going to run over just a little, that there are 35 people served here. And then if I just want to go back and understand real quick, I can come back to it. Yeah, it's hard to tell if they're related or not. I'm just going to see if there were, how many people. All right, so we'll have to circle back to this one. Certainly a great project, but okay, moving to the next, and this is the one that I started to tee up earlier between Hampshire Choral Society, Inc. and Hampshire Young People's Chorus. I think it's, in some ways, it's easier to start with the second one, because that's one that we tend to fund year in, year out. That's a repeat application. So for the choir tuition scholarships, this is for their award-winning youth choir. It includes singers from ages of 8 up to 18. And the musicians come from all over the Pioneer Valley. And they did a fantastic job during the pandemic to figure out how to keep people coming together and singing, and did a lot of outreach to the community, and were really just essential for these kids to have community during that time. They're in their 25th anniversary season, and they have 35 children on the roster from 8 different towns, including Amherst. They never turn away a child for an inability to pay, and about 10% of their singers receive some sort of financial assistance, and tuition only covers a small portion of their expenses, and the balance is made up through grants and donations. So the amount that they were requesting would cover tuition for one child out of 35 for a full year. Okay, so if everyone's clear on that, then the operating expenses for the Choral Society, now in their 25th year, they hired a new musical director in May this year, and Paige Graham is revitalizing the choir and helping them to recruit and retain younger members, which is critical to their success. They always have to have younger members so they can grow up, right? So they're speaking to Paige's musical talent and her sensibility with the youth, and her goal is to get to know each member's musical ability and preferences. So she's meeting individually with every choir member for placement auditions, and they're requesting general operating support to help cover expenses of paying their director and rehearsal accompanists, renting rehearsal and performance space, and paying soloists and musicians who accompany them for the concert. So two different grants, and they both support the same organization, but they have different lead applicants. And I think I'm understanding. Well, yeah, normally we would request that an organization in this case would only make one application and include all of this together in one. So with that, I'll turn it over for anyone who wants to champion it or has any questions or thoughts about either, both of these. It's all great. Yeah.
I would be more inclined to fund their tuition piece just because that's is more up or versus operation cost.
Yeah, I mean, I agree as far as I think it would be, a huge setback, to kind of like not have that tuition support that we've been in the habit of not in the habit that we've been committed to providing some support each year previously. I'm not saying to not fund the other at all, but that certainly in my mind comes first. Any other thoughts here?
No, I agree. I would be inclined to do the full fund for the scholarship, and if we have the room, a partial fund for the operating expenses.
Okay, I would agree with that. So should we maybe, I mean, considering that they have 8 different towns participating, right? It would seem that they should be applying and receiving funds, from those areas as well. And with that, their total budget there is close to 10,000. They're asking us for $1,000 there. Again, normally I think in the past we might have had to put this aside because it would have been seen as a duplicate application. I'm not sure whether it meets that criteria or not right at the moment. Any thoughts along those lines? All right, I will make a note that it might be a duplicate. But how about I put down, is everybody okay with in the neighborhood of 200 or 250? If you're
Sounds good.
shaking your head, I can't hear it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lots of things.
Sorry, you said yes and what?
I said everyone's nodding.
Did anybody have a number that they like there?
Was the 250 for the operating expenses?
Mm-hmm. And operating expenses sounds it's rental space, it's and a
It's a lot.
company. I mean, it's culture. It's not like, yeah. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I get it.
It's
Yeah, I'm
keeping
good.
artists employed, you know, and active and working with children. Like, what more could you want, right?
Great.
Okay. All right, I've penciled in 250 for that one. Okay, moving to the next. Kenneth Harris has Foes of a Minimum Wage Guard, a solo play to be performed at the Drake summer of 2025, requesting $1,500 out of a budget of the same amount. And this is an 80-minute solo play performed by an award-winning actor, Ken Harris. He will be performing 12 different characters. It's the world's first original one-man show tackling the topics of retail crime and loss prevention. There's self-discovery. Not to go into tremendous amount of detail here. But in the end, the main character will stumble upon a critical discovery that will test his devotion to his employer, while at the same time impact his relationship with his coworkers and management. He'll have to make a decision that will alter the course of his objective and compel him to rethink his true purpose. Does anyone have any thoughts about this? Any questions, or would like to champion this?
Do we know if the Drake is committed? I don't see a letter or anything.
I did not, and I also didn't see anything along the lines of a date for it. So just kind of yeah, I'm not sure at all with that.
I mean,
Anyone?
for me,
Mhm.
this hurts to say, but I don't find this as compelling as some of the other applications, despite the fact that it is an award-winning original show. I would be more inclined to do a partial, if at all.
Yeah, I'm particularly concerned because I don't think the budget is accurate here. They're looking at $800 for 3 performances, 3 different days to for the Drake. And I happen to know that that would be more like it's 1,200 per night. So that's closer to, you know, $3,600. So I've got a concern here as to whether this can really happen anywhere, you know, with the budget that's provided here.
Yeah, and he doesn't note any in-kind support from them.
No. I don't know if anyone had any other time to kind of look at it. There really wasn't any supporting material that I could see either. Did anyone look into that? I might, you know, consider at this point without a letter, you know, for something so ambitious and without a letter of support from the Drake, I'm not sure that I would support funding it. I don't see any other participants. I mean, it's a one-man show, but even at that, you know, you would potentially have others who are supporting those efforts, right?
I agree. I think it's a little problematic for all the reasons you said.
Okay. All right, I have this one at 0, and, you know, just as everyone can recall, you know, before we get to the final meetings to vote on these things, we do usually kind of put out for everyone to review. And if someone's circling back to this, maybe someone who wasn't here tonight and they're like, oh, wait, you know, I've seen this guy, he's fantastic. How can this be a 0? You know, you guys weren't thinking, then we'll hear about it then. Okay. So moving on, if there aren't any other comments. Okay, great. The next is for Hilltown Families. Hilltown Families suggests this is to support their website, hilltownfamilies.org. They basically, it's a community-based education network that supports residents' interest, and basically they publicize local events. Each week they publish an online list of what's going on in the community, and they aim to strengthen a sense of place and shared community experience. And they also curate a list of seasonally based self-directed learning ideas and opportunities, etc. I'll start with this one as far as questioning not championing it. And this is one that after a good amount of deliberation last year, our council members decided not to fund it because it isn't actually a cultural event in and of itself. Does it support cultural events? Yes, but it was hard for us with so many to turn away an artist who's actually making the culture in favor of supporting a website. It's a great website, it's a great resource, but it did seem like when we discussed it previously that there should be other ways to fund that other than, and it's just more of a trade-off. Is there anyone who feels strongly that we should definitely try to fund this?
I'm with you. I think we should keep that same mindset. And if we do have extra, if we really want to, we could, but
I've yet to be here all these years when we're here going, what are we going to do with all this money? We're going to have to give it to someone. I love that. But again, for me, when we're talking about giving partial grants to other folks who have really, great work that they're collaborating and putting on, to take money away from them to support a website, I struggle with that. So unless someone feels really, really strongly, then I would mark this as not funding it. Anyone? Okay. All agreed? Okay. The next is not to be confused now is Hilltown Youth Performing Arts Program. And this is their recovery theater program that will occur between July 7th and August 10th in Heath, Massachusetts. Total budget is $101,500, of which they're requesting $1,500 from Amherst Cultural Council. They are located in Northampton and Heath, Massachusetts. Recovery Theater, it's a year-round after-school summer art and summer arts program for young people overcoming trauma, addiction, anxiety, depression, and other behavioral challenges. Their summer camp brings together youth in recovery and teens who haven't experienced these challenges, who have or haven't experienced these challenges from all over the region to train and collaborate on theatrical productions at a high level, gives them a sense of belonging. The work incorporates circus, so aerial, fabrics, trapeze, outdoor adventure-based programs, zip lines, whitewater rafting, dance, music, meditation, journaling, and yoga. And this year's 5-year program will culminate in their 15th outdoor traveling summer spectacle, 12th night. And in 2025, they're offering recovery intensives in Amherst and at the Northampton Center of the Arts, including their annual LGBTQ themed training over Pride Weekend in May. I'd be happy to champion this unless somebody else wants to champion it first, then I can just sit here and somebody else can talk. But I would absolutely champion this. Who else would like to question or champion it? And I would absolutely.
I would also like to champion it just another PR. It does great work. And yeah.
I mean, it literally is life-saving theater at a really vulnerable time. And, you kids have gone through the pandemic, it's like a lot of your friends, they're not quite right. And a lot of kids are like that. So I'm going to get all teary here, but I would really hope that we could fully fund it.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's year round, it is not a single event or even a couple of events, I think makes it just from that perspective, much more impactful.
Yeah. And this is a pretty phenomenal group. We're on kind of their email mailing list, and, they reach out to the community. And if something happens in the community, a current event, something, they're constantly there to engage and share their thoughts. And they're really there for people in a very present way from what I've been reading. So, okay. All right, moving on. Thank you all for that. So the next is Illuminati Vocal Arts Ensemble. This is their event is Sacred Place, Winter into Spring, at Grace Church in Amherst, Mass. It would be February 16th, 4 o'clock. They're requesting $1,000 out of their $5,900 budget. There is a composer, Morton Lordson. He worked for the Forest Service at Mount St. Helens when he was in college, and he had a vision of beauty beyond description, to be above the clouds with the magnificent snowy peaks. And he became a composer, and this concert will explore this epiphany through midwinter songs. It's a regional premiere of recent works by young contemporary composers who were inspired by him, for Poems in the Air by a local composer, Colin Britt, and The Frost by Kathleen Allen, and Winter Breviary by Indian American composer Renee Asmail, and Sacred Place, an Ecological Service by Jewish American composer Alex Berko, and Come Into the Woods, celebration of the writings of John Muir by Jake Runestad. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this, champion, question this? We are an enthusiastic group tonight.
I mean, I love that it is giving a platform for young composers whom, I know don't have too many opportunities. It's very hard, right? And the fact that they're reaching out to all of the local high schools and their singers to get them involved and to have them and to provide free tickets. All of that said, I'm not sure that we could do a full fund of it.
We run into this frequently with just the sheer number of classical music pieces. And this is a repeat applicant. But we've not funded them before that I know of to this amount.
I mean, I would be good for a partial, maybe a half or even a little bit lower.
It is in Amherst, and it is, young composers. So I mean, half, if we could do it, does seem reasonable to me. And now, Bill, you had actually volunteered also to kind of do a analysis as well.
I owe you that. I'm so
Give
sorry.
time on that, because that'll really come in at the end with that balancing that slate out. So it does seem to me it's the kind of thing where you could start kind of getting your categories together, and then the numbers will get plugged in at in the end.
Yeah.
So I think that this is something that would be, well served by that kind of review, should we be able to do that. Any other thoughts here?
Sounds
Everyone
good to me.
okay? Excellent. All right. If there's nothing else, I will move on to the next. We have Lexi Jameson Marsh for I Was a Hurricane to be presented at Amherst Cinema in 2026. It has a budget of $107,000. They are asking us for 5,000 of that. And it is for a documentary film that opens with the final point of the 2003 High School Ultimate Frisbee National Finals, showcasing Amherst Hurricanes' victory over rivals. And it was marred by a controversial foul. So it's set in Western Massachusetts. It chronicles the hurricane season and this self-officiating sport, interweaving archival footage and contemporary interviews with former players and coaches. They're setting the stage in 2003 in Western Massachusetts, and they introduced the vibrant ultimate Frisbee community that emerged in the Pioneer Valley. Head coach, I think that's Tina. Yeah, Tina Booth assembles a formidable team, including the Leverett Line, a group of graduating seniors from a small hill town known for their tight-knit bond and skillful play. I will champion this and would say, I don't know if we can fully fund it, but for what it is and how it represents and takes the culture of Amherst and something that was invented here in Amherst and puts it into a format that really that would be frankly appreciated the nation over and in the world over. I think a documentary like this would have legs to really, have an enormous audience, and also would, bring tourism as well. I don't, Bill, are you familiar with the Ultimate Frisbee? I'm kind of scratching your head here. And Amherst.
No, I did not know the history. I've never played it. I know what it is, but yeah, I did not know it was invented here.
Yeah, it's it's pretty impressive. Most any year for the world, what the main world tournament happens here, and college teams come in to get beat by our high school team. I'm not really a sports person myself. I was, always all arts and culture, but it's pretty crazy. And the fact that, it's self-officiating, they don't have refs and the players have to agree on what went on the game. I can't imagine. So anyone else want to jump in here? I mean, $5,000 is a big ask. So it would be definitely taking money away from something else, but it's really unique to Amherst, and it's pretty cool that they're getting the archival footage, and it's going to cost a good chunk of money to do what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty unique. Like, it's a film about Amherst being shown in Amherst. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I don't see us being able to do the full amount. But I do appreciate this project. Yeah, no, Amherst College is always being beat by Amherst High School in Frisbee, so that's pretty cool.
So what do you think? Are you raising your hand or just thinking, Cody?
I would say half.
I mean, that's a big award. As far as what we can give, 2,500, if we can give it, would be big, and yeah, I can get behind that, and I would hope that we have that much to give, because I think this fantastic undertaking and really special for the region and the students past and future. Okay, anyone else kind of good with that $2,500 number if we can?
I'm good with that.
All right, excellent. Okay, moving to the next, Jonathan Keesing Level Up Puppet Show. This would be at the Jones Library, July 19th. And this is a request for the full $500 budget. And this would be celebrating National Library Reading Theme, Carabin Puppets, Level Up at Your Library. It features puppet skits of how we play. Stories include The Tortoise and the Hare and Mike Mulligan's Stream Shovel. They feature beautiful handcrafted puppets, and they are engaging in age-appropriate productions that promote interaction and literature and creativity. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this, champion it, or has any questions?
I mean,
This
I'll champion.
Hmm?
I'll champion it. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen the kind of the engaging puppet shows and what it does for not just kids but families as well. And I've never met anybody that hasn't loved it. And anything that brings people into our library, I'm always good for. Quite frankly, the more people we get in there, the better. And with the fact that we have a letter of support from them, I think that's phenomenal.
Excellent. I mean, just the cost of the craft to make the puppets, much less do the performance, I mean, this is something that people do out of love and because it is love. So I think I would fully support it if we can. We all good there? Excellent. All right, moving on. The next is Carrie Klein for Stories and Songs of Appalachia and Small Town America, April 18th at the South Hadley Senior Center. They're requesting 100 out of their $800 budget. They bring an appreciation for small town life that will resonate with local communities. They place their songs in historic and folkloric context with stories and images to set the stage. Mostly they sing the kind of tight, high mountain harmony that comes from living and loving together for 30 years, having met in the Valley and recently returned after 26 years as West Virginia-based folk artists and oral historians and music makers. Their guitar accompaniments are closely arranged in harmony and includes one musician, Joe Blumenthal, on upright bass, and Jim Armenti will be on the mandolin. And they specialize in songs of working people, Appalachian songs, and country duets of people and nature, with a couple of country songs woven into the mix. They performed, and the public has actually asked them to return. So is there anyone who would like to champion this or speak to it, or questions?
My only minor concern would be how many Amherst folks would be attending, given that it's in South Hadley.
Exactly. Yeah. That was my question too.
Yeah. It's a small ask, and yet one of the conversation topics that's come up before is we fund a tremendous amount for the Amherst Senior Center. We fund things for Applewood and other places. And it's kind of a little harder while this sounds great, I wish they were bringing this to Amherst. Because
I mean,
these residents, they're not likely to travel.
yeah, I mean, I would like to support it, but it's a tiny amount, but, like if we gave 50 or 75, we're supporting, but not,
Someone else.
yeah. So,
Okay.
I agree with Christy.
I agree. And again, if for some reason there's some windfall and we just go, well, what are we going to do with this money? That'd be great, but we're not there. So I will put it at 0. Okay. So the next is Bill Niddle, and his event is Wild Big and Big Trouble. He doesn't know where the project would occur. They're requesting $500 for it to happen sometime, no particular date, summer of 2025. And they would like their band, Wild Bill and Big Trouble, to play a free concert of country, bluegrass, and Americana for the residents of Row and their guests. They're a 5-piece band with an accordion, drum, stand-up bass, electric guitar, and acoustic guitar. And they have 3 vocalists who gather around old-fashioned microphones for a traditional yet fresh sound. Did anyone else catch that they're really looking to target this to the folks of Row and not to Amherst?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a
I mean,
pass
it seems to me that there's two problems here. One is where and when. And the other is that they have a $500 budget and they're asking us for the whole thing for Row. Like how many people are schlepping up to Row? I mean,
Yep, nope.
I would
Okay,
say no.
I'm saying no. All good, all right. I hope Ro really likes it if it gets there. Next is Tracy Kukansky, and she's applying for Introduction to Wool Sculpting Beginner Needle Felting Workshop. The location of this is to be determined, as well as the date. She's requesting, it's a $575 budget, and $575 requested from Amherst, and the intent is to introduce the local community to the art of needle felting through a hands-on beginner class. We'll open this one up to everyone as well.
Haven't we seen this before? I feel like this is past, anyways, maybe irrelevant, but where is this happening? When is this happening?
Yeah,
And why are we paying for the whole thing?
I'm questioning the same things. And this is for someone who's from Westfield. I get the impression this is one of those, hey, if you'll pay me, then
I'll come,
I'll come, but it doesn't even say that it's occurring in Amherst. So I have no,
Yeah.
right? It didn't say that it would occur. Just the people of the local community. Like, I have no idea where this is happening. So I don't see the local benefit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anybody
I
who
just,
support it?
sorry, Bill, go ahead.
No, I mean, I had the same questions. The only thing that's a positive is the fact that it's unique. It's a different kind of event that we haven't seen yet, but that does not outweigh the concerns for me.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. We're okay to say that it doesn't seem to be here. All right. Moving to the next, we have Lander Grinspoon Academy's Book Fest. It occurred about 2 weeks back on November 10th at Lander Grinspoon Academy. They were requesting $5,000 out of their $5,300 budget. And they had their inaugural book festival celebrating children's books and authors and their readers. And they hosted a stellar group of award-winning renowned authors, Adam Gidwitz, Jean Birdsall, and Leslie Newman. And it took place at their academy, and it was geared towards readers who were 4 years to 14 years old, and it was open to all. Is there anyone who'd like to champion this, speak to it, have any questions?
Great.
I'll start with one. Regardless if they funded or not, it happened. So there's no risk in it not happening. I did see some comments that it was at a private school in our notes. It would have been open to the public, but there were several who was saying, you know, it's at a private school. So did anyone see any advertising for it? And just to kind of
Sorry, Cody.
I may be assuming here, but it's a private school. Wouldn't you think they would already have the money?
That's a good point. They could use the network that they already have to promote it. But I guess from my perspective, as someone who attended 12 years of parochial private school, I don't know, like just telling that community, hey, we're having this and it's open to the public doesn't actually get the word out to the public who's not attending there. So I'm not saying that they didn't, I just don't know. you know, again, it was over in Northampton. And by the way, for the budget, 3,000 of it was going to honorariums for the authors. Another 500 for to rent space, which I thought it was at the school, so I'm a little confused as to why there'd be space rental costs. And then there were 500 in book supplies, and then another 800 in equipment, and another 500 for security. For the
I also, oh, sorry, Julian. I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say, I again have problems when there are author honoraria. And, I assume they're selling their books at this event.
Awesome.
You know, so anyways, I have a problem with this. So
I mean, I'd be okay with not funding this based on that it's not an Amherst and it wasn't in a particularly public space. So I don't know how well it engaged the public other than those who attend the school.
Yep, agreed.
and I do think that when we get things like this, that are not Amherst things, that are sort of I don't want to say niche, but sort of, in a private situation, I think it behooves the people who are writing the grant to explain why this is an Amherst related event. Or Amherst should be funding this. And I say that sort of going forward too. Like, I think it's good that they're asking for money from ancillary related towns, but it's like you got to at least throw in one sentence by saying we have 10% of our students from Amherst, or something to give us something to chew on to understand. And I say that in particular for this one, but also for other ones. So I'm not really great on funding this, and certainly not for the amount that they ask.
Yeah, I think we'd be okay to pass on this one if everyone's okay.
Yep.
With that, I wanted to pause here and just look back at our schedules, because scheduling is going to be crucial. So we are at the 25th, and we have meetings December 4th, December 9th, December 11th is going to be needed, and a final voting meeting on the 16th. The good news is we are almost halfway through, right? Almost halfway through. And really we've had 2.5 sessions, because our first session, there was a lot of just kind of going through the process, and we had introductions and everything else. So I think we're making great progress. But I do think at a minimum, we need to add one more date, and I'm sure that's not going to happen this week. Yeah.
Julian, I was going to email you. I'm away again on the 9th, the whole week of the 9th. And I will try to do it on the 9th, on the evening of the 9th, to join you. But I know you said we also have one on the 11th.
That was optional before, but it can't remain optional.
I definitely can't do the 11th. So I will try the 9th, but I can't do the 11th.
All right, so I really need to firm up dates at all, or we're likely to miss this.
Do we have to finish by the end of the year? What's
not exactly, but we have to get to the point where anyone that we're denying gets notified, and then they have two weeks to come back with an appeal. And so what's really driving this is the final approval of everything after the appeal. So I think where we are right now, and the best use of time, is for me to kind of spell that out to the whole group, to email the whole group that I absolutely must, have your confirmation and commitment, barring an emergency, because that could happen to any of us, like it did to me last week, about when you can attend and make sure that we have quorums and potentially looking at adding another date. One of the things we've talked about in the past, and thankfully we've never had to do it, but potentially, you know, would there be a weekend date where we could, you know, meet and do a longer session to knock a bit more of this out? It's we're at the mercy of the grant cycle schedule being exactly when it is in the year. And frankly, I desperately wish they would change it so that it is not right with all of the crucial stuff happening around Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, and all the other, you know, Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. And, you know, it's just along with having an academic community here, you know, we go from midterms into finals as well at the same time. So, and that's both, you know, students. Thank you guys for being here, but then also anyone who's working at the university. It's nuts. Yes, Christy.
Julianne, could you just go through what we have, what's on the books right now for meetings? So,
Absolutely.
I mean, just go through them kind of, not too
What's
fast, but
it's really not a lot left. So I really do
Okay.
think we add something. I'm going to put it here in the chat if I'm allowed to access the chat. Is there a chat?
No.
Okay, so that's fine. I know why there's not a chat. We had an unfortunate incident years ago. All right, so what we have is December 4th at 6
Right.
p.m. December 9th at 6 p.m. December 11th at 6 p.m. and December 16th at 6 p.m. So that's
Okay.
next Wednesday, the following Monday and Wednesday, the 9th and the 11th, and then Monday, the 16th. And we had that at Monday, the 16th. Always tried to do that a little earlier in case we needed to add more before people start taking breaks for the holidays. I'm sure, Eleanor, you're winding down I know you and Cody, you're both going to be in finals, and then Eleanor, you'll be leaving to go back to your family, I would assume, too, for the break.
Yeah. All I have is the final on the 18th.
But earlier in the day, right?
Yeah, I probably 1 to 5, but I won't take that whole board.
Okay, so that would be doable for you if we had to do something. You said that's which date again? I had a little background noise on this.
December 18th.
December 18th. Okay, we don't have anything scheduled yet. Eleanor, I don't mean to put you on the spot and everybody.
No. It's totally okay. Sorry, my internet was also a little bad for that, but I I don't know the exact day that I'm driving home yet.
Mhm.
But I can be pretty flexible because I honestly like I just have mostly it's just a bunch of like papers and projects and I end up staying till one of those days in there, but like I should be pretty flexible and it's not exams at a certain time. So just working around my
Okay.
brothers a little bit, but otherwise good.
Okay. All right. What about you, Bill? You have any major constraints here, as one would at this time of the year?
I don't. The question I have though is I know these meetings, at least on my calendar, are scheduled till 8. And there may be a good reason why we can't, but if we extend each of the remaining 4 meetings by a half an hour, that effectively gives us another 2-hour session.
Yeah, we could try that.
No, it's and I don't know, you all may have commitments that make that impossible, but I just wanted to ask.
You know, one of the reasons we've been limiting it, and actually, by the way, I've been doing somewhat better. I haven't shared with you, Bill, but I have narcolepsy. So one of the challenges I've always had was kind of holding it together and whether or not I'll actually be able to to function later into the evening, and it just seemed like, all right. And, you know, everybody gets to a certain level of fatigue after a full work day and then rolling into this. And sometimes I've noticed in, you know, past years that when we went with the longer sessions, you know, people, it's a little bit harder sometimes for people to remain, you know, upbeat and collaborative. So we've been trying to keep them kind of, but we could go longer. And I've been doing better. I had a major improvement in the treatment of my narcolepsy since, you know, it's not perfect, but it's not what it was 2-3 years ago. It's improved a bit. So I'm good to try to go longer. At the same time, from a quorum point of view, you know, we'd have to announce that to the rest of the group that we're going to have to go long. And you know what? They're not here tonight. Some of them, a few of them, I didn't even hear that they weren't going to be here tonight. So I kind of, you know, going back to them and saying we have to dig in and do more and they're going to have to stay longer. Well, then they should be understanding, right? Right.
Yeah, and I don't feel strongly. I am absolutely open and can add another day. So whatever is going to work best for the group is good for me.
Yeah, I'm cool with either or, you know, after it's calming down. So after the holiday season, I can go longer with the rest of the year and have other nighttime calls.
I'm sorry, which evening is that, Cody, that you could go longer, but
All of them, you know, I'm flexible.
okay. Thank you. All right. Since we've gotten to that point now, does everybody need to run tonight? Or since we do need to go and hang up tonight, Christy?
I do. I'm sorry.
All
I've
right.
got like
You know what?
a house full of guests, so.
No. Okay. All right. So we will plan ahead and I won't drag this out any longer. You know, I think we're doing a good job making good progress. So thank you, all of you. So, all right. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all your contributions. It's been great working with you tonight.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear everything's good with you, Julianne, too.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye, everyone.